In the last 2 years, I used to weigh like 336 pounds. I lost 130 of that, and now I'm kind of into bodybuilding a little bit and into like Olympic lifting. So that was probably one of my greatest challenges in life.
Overcoming self. Realizing that, you know what I'm saying, no matter how much growth, no matter how much knowledge, no matter how much wisdom I say I have or others may say I have, I'm still at pretty much ground zero. We couldn't scratch the surface if we lived thousands of lives to know what there is to know. So it's always a constant thing of growth, and that understanding has allowed me to keep myself from being arrogant about where I am and where I'm going.
Getting over my own insecurities, I would say. Being able to be successful for myself and not just for myself, for my daughter. I wasn't sure what I wanted. I still don't know what I want, but I know I want more for her. So it's about starting something that she can benefit from in the future. Because if I'm going, I want her to be able to have something that I can leave behind. And I'm still working on that.
Realizing that being happy is what's worth it. You're going to have ups and downs in your life, and money triumphs and triumphs with a new wife, but being happy is the best triumph. And that's what I strive for every day. It's all an attitude. Happiness is something you believe. It's personal. I want to be happy, so I am. And things that happen that aren't pleasant, I deal with them and then accept it and move on to the happy things.
Greatest trial of personal growth. I think after college, when I was thinking about where I wanted to be with my life, because I didn't really have anything set after going to college, and I know I didn't want to stay living with my parents forever, and I always knew as a kid I didn't want to do what many people in my family were doing. So trying to figure that out, eventually going away to grad school to finally get the answer, and then in grad school struggling to get the opportunities that I have now. It's never been an easy thing, both because of things internally where I don't really know, or I have things holding me back or that I think are holding me back, and then external factors such as institutions or other people that may not necessarily think I'm either good enough or may not necessarily think I belong or whatever else. Certainly those years after I graduated from college, I think I had to do quite a bit of digging and trying to get myself out of a hole that I thought I was in. Looking back, those were some years I wouldn't relive, so to speak, but they're definitely years in which I learned a lot of things about myself and gained a lot of knowledge that I use now and that I've used in the past to great effect. So,
I think that the sort of 22-year-old moving away from home, and kind of living outside of the country, living in Europe for a while was, pretty eye-opening, pretty illuminating, and it gave me like a broader perspective on who I was and my place in the world.
I've had very bad anger issues, and just trying to get over that was very hard. I didn't go through classes and everything, but I just did examples on the internet and did that, and it really helped me grow as a person too.
Mine was probably getting a job. I really had very bad social anxiety, and I couldn't go out in public or either really attend high school without not being able to leave or have a panic attack. And I decided to get a job, and that's probably the most growth I've ever went through, because I'm not saying it cured me, but it did help me a world's worth, just getting out in public and being able to talk to someone like you. Because without being as young as I was and starting to work like I did, I probably wouldn't have saw myself just coming up to you and just being able to talk the way I am today. So that's probably the most growth I've had, is getting a job, honestly.
Improving my career, I guess I could say. Actually learning from another or a friend of mine, learning something, or learning computer programming, and I think that actually enhanced my life, and it brought me to this point now where I could actually, train people. Yes, so with this knowledge I had gotten from this friend of mine, I was able to help actually a lot of people. I volunteered a lot when my daughter was in cheerleading, and so I did a lot of volunteer work with the Pop Warner and the school. So I've always dedicated my time. So this enabled me. I knew enough about computers. I could build them. I knew how to negotiate deals with people. So I ended up doing was I had connections with computers, and I actually donated to the school 12 computers for the after-school program, and stuff like that. So it enabled me to be to have this ability to share my knowledge with people if they needed help. In that time, computers were pretty complicated for people. So I was able to help them. So of course, I did sell computers to make a profit. Okay, but I did it. It was part-time. It was all part-time work. But anyway, so I think that was my greatest accomplishment, was learning this field and then taking off from there. And right now, the job I have now, I just love it. It's a remote position, and I enjoy training and talking to people and and sharing my knowledge, basically. So I think that's sums it up for me.
5 years ago, I guess, I had a motorcycle accident, and I was up on Mount Washington, and it was way out of my skill set, but I got up there, and then coming down, I didn't do it correctly, and I lost my brakes. So I was free falling down the mountain. And it was either going off the cliff or going into the side of the mountain, and I went into an area, got stopped by stones, and broken ankle, was a brush with death. And so that sent me on a completely unexpected journey about what I really want in life. Well, I questioned everything. I questioned, am I happy with my marriage? Am I happy doing this? What is it I really want to do? And if I am unhappy with it, I need to change it. And it just forced me to relook at everything. And I eventually did end up getting divorced. And the hardest thing I ever did was something I felt I was forced to do in a sense, because I was unhappy, and being that close to death taught me I have only so much time left, and I need to do what I need to do, and I did it. But it was really, 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 really hard. It was a marriage of 38 years, so yeah.
Learning to keep my mouth shut sometimes when I want to say something, and thinking better of it. That's a trial for me. There's plenty of times I'm proud of not saying it, but yeah, I've said some doozies that you can't take back.
Greatest trial of personal growth, the career-wise, for the span of for the last 3 years, I got opportunity to work in I think it's been not 3 years, 4 years. It's been 4 years now. So I actually switched from companies to companies. So right now I'm in a not a good position, but okay position. So it's kind of the career growth for me for the past 4 years. Yeah.
For me, the greatest trial is to make relationships work. It's quite difficult. Yeah. So I try, keep on trying.
I don't know, just trying to get into college, I guess. I say recently I sort of had to look at myself in the mirror and figure out what I need to change about myself, especially with everything that's been going on. It's been sort of tough to really know that I need to change things. A lot of people, I feel don't know that there are things about them they can improve themselves, and I think that was something that I figured out recently. So,
greatest trial of what? Did you make up these crazy questions? Would have been one of the many times that I have been challenged during my 93 years and gotten out of it. As I say, I've had a good life. Been exposed to most of the challenges and gotten through. Had a good family. You can't ask any more than that. And as I say, I stand before you going on 94. I don't hurt. I just finished driving round trip of 600 and some miles to Eastern Virginia, where I have a cabin on the Rappahannock River. Played around on the water. Got in the car, drove nonstop.
I got it.
Go for it.
At the time that I was going to be homeless, my dog died. we had to put him down. My cousin died, and it was Christmas. That was rough. That sucked. That took a minute, because it was during the pandemic, and my mom was sick. And, it sucked. But hey, I came out of it, and I still had both parents intact.
I would actually, you know what? No, it is my junior year of high school. It was a very rough year. I have grown a lot since then, and I think that it really transformed me from being a kid into an adult, and like it really changed my outlook on life that I'm still trying to unlearn. But like, I think that was probably my hardest year, or hardest time of personal growth. You know.
Oh,
I'm trying. You know me.
I do.
Ooh, okay.
I think being home was real rough.
That's always been rough. I haven't really sort of gotten it. You know what? Having to break it off with that guy.
Yeah, that's
having to not break up because we weren't dating, but sort of express that I didn't want to see this guy anymore was really hard because I've never had to do that before, and it wasn't until this year that people get sort of practice with that in like middle school and high school, and I only just had to do that this year, and so I was really agonizing over it and talking to my friends about it because I was really struggling because he was a really great guy and he hadn't done anything wrong for me to be like, I don't want to see him anymore. I just was like recognizing in myself that you should trust your gut, you know, and like I should trust my gut, and your emotions, like just because this guy doesn't make you sad doesn't mean that you should like stick it out. Relationships aren't something you stick out, and should be something that makes you genuinely happy, and try really like getting a sort of crash course in how relationships work.
Crash course?
Getting a speed run of a relationship, it was like really, really hard. And it was super tough, but I did it and it turned out okay. I also don't like doing new things. I don't like experiencing new things because I don't know how it's going to turn out. So I experienced a new thing and it wasn't the end of the world. So that was great. I felt really proud of myself in that moment.
These are some hard questions. On the spot, in the mall. A sincere health struggle that I went through, and there's a lot of beauty in the struggle, and looking back and being able to see the beauty in a struggle, and what the gift of coming out of that struggle and being able to look back and see where all the good things that came out of it, because there always are.
I think probably being a father and a husband makes you realize how selfish you are, and even when you think you're not being selfish, like it's just human nature, we're all selfish, and I think being a father, husband's helped me appreciate over time how to put others first.
Getting the job as the director of the Lexington Children's Museum was a big achievement. Since I was totally unqualified for the position, I sort of talked myself into it. I wasn't qualified to run a museum in any way.
Having a child at 15, it was interesting. I had a lot of personal growth and I learned a lot of things, and I had a great addition to my life, but it was just challenging all the time.
It's very ugly, but it's leaving a bad marriage. That's really all I want to share.
I think admitting to myself that I don't know everything and I can't do everything. Meaning that I don't know everything there is to know on the planet, and that I'm not Superman, that I can't just do everything whenever I want to. I have to admit that when you've had enough, you've had enough.
Battling methamphetamine, not for my personal self, but for my loved ones. We gotta do it together. We can't leave them behind. They're not garbage. Without their souls, we can't win. Methamphetamine loses your soul. Hard drugs do. Keep your soul and you can go. Amen.
I was always like a shy kid growing up, so I think, just getting myself out of my comfort zone and trying to meet more people, like coming to college and stuff, or just like getting myself out there, and it's like helped me kind of make more friends and just like be active in like the things that I'm involved in, and just
taking that step forward?
Probably coming to college, honestly. Like,
Yeah.
That it was such a
New
big change.
beginnings.
Yeah. And I think I dealt with it pretty well.
Yeah, for sure.
Meeting my wife. Meeting my wife, it made me grow as a better person. And producing great children and beautiful daughter-in-law and beautiful grandchildren. My 2 granddaughters. My family.
He's gonna cry. We get emotional as we get older. That's personal growth. Personal growth, yeah.
Yes. Holy cow. Oh, man. You want to go first on this one? Because I have no idea.
I had a dream school I had my heart set on, and getting turned down from that was like soul crushing. Getting the motivation to, realize that like one failure doesn't define you, and you're better off if you can like push past it. Being able to find that motivation to continue to work to like better myself even after that rejection was like a big trial for me.
I don't know. I don't really have like one thing.
Realizing you didn't like engineering.
Okay, that's a good one. I came here engineering and I realized I did not like it, so I had to change my major. It didn't interest me. It's what I did my entire life up until that point. So that was interesting, realizing I didn't have the same passion I had for it before. So I'm building construction now.
Greatest trial. I would say in the past 3 years, 4 years maybe, many of those people and things that I thought I loved, cherished, valued, was shown to me by God. Veils were removed, and I was shown that those people I thought loved me did not love me. I was shown that those things I thought I accomplished and achieved weren't so much accomplishments and achievements, and that I had been still living somewhat of a lie. I think that has been one of the, what was the question? How do I say it? It was one of the greatest trials, and I'm still on that. I'm still within that, but it helped me realize how strong I am as one man. You know what I'm saying? It helped me realize that we are all, many of us, so very confused, so very, very confused and blinded by things. And it also showed me that when you truly submit to the Creator, you will be taken care of, you will be provided for. The hurt is going to be realizing how long you were wrong. So that was the one of the most trying things, realizing that for 15 or more years I had been making mistakes, and that I now had to do the work of undoing the mistakes and then do better from there.
Being able to achieve my goals. I wasn't able to hang out with a lot of friends that much because I was trying to achieve my goal of running a lot more and being able to run long distance races and all that.
Getting used to college, being here away from my family, and learning to kind of adapt to being surrounded by mostly strangers every day, and kind of getting over that, and kind of going through and evolving as a person, and making it so that it's not surrounded by strangers every day, it's now surrounded by friends every day.
I have a lot floating through my brain, but probably watching someone close to you pass away. I think that was probably one of the biggest trials. Just knowing that there's nothing that you can do to help when it's their time, and kind of just watching it, especially if they had a huge impact on your life, kind of just watching it too. It's a huge trial. Yeah, so I've had several family members, several friends, and then I work with people that are in crisis, so I often have people pass away every week. So, yeah.
Got dark, sorry. Yeah. I think for me, going back to the whole idea of saying no has been one of my biggest personal trials of growth, and it's something I'm still working on a lot. But there was a big no that I offered recently that was hard for me to say, but I'm glad I did it in the long run, and I still need to work on it, but kind of in the middle of a personal trial. But we're making it through, and I have the right people supporting me. Well, being in the performance world, you kind of have to be a yes man to say yes to pretty much every opportunity you're given. But sometimes you have to know what is best for you and your voice and your schedule and your mental health and having a life outside of just work all the time. So that's a part of it. I think the no idea has spread through many assets of my life, but that's one of them. So,
growing up, I think my family went through a pretty tough time, and I think that taught me to look out for others and to always be aware of others and how they're feeling, and always checking in to see how they're doing. With that, I learned to not only check in with myself, but also to keep an eye on others.
Probably the biggest thing for me was growing up without a mom, a single dad. It gives you a really different perspective on family roles and who like the provider is, because normally it's like the mother, she provides for the family, or the kids, she takes care of them. But having a dad there, and he's a great father, but it's very different, and you just got to get over that and overcome that, I'd say.
Moving to a new city all alone, working 3 days by myself, that was a lot of personal growth going on.
I would say I haven't had a big personal growth yet. I still live at home. I think it'll be coming in the next year, my big growth.
My sophomore year of high school, I was in a car accident, and I had to switch schools, like go to a whole different place that I wasn't normal to or anything. And I was kind of like a dark place, didn't really talk to anybody. And I think the biggest point of growth for me then was, like reaching out to other people and asking for help.
I'd say probably just coming to college and adjusting to everything here and learning a lot, figuring stuff out for myself.
Just to become more mature in life and to be a human being, period, because I was so childish. I had to learn how to mature and become more adult and learn how to handle things more adult way than to be childish. When I had my daughter, this is my daughter, she's a year and a half now, so when I had her, it was that turning point to go ahead and step up and mature and become a more adult than what I was. A lot of things have changed in my life. A lot of things that I used to do in my life, I don't even hardly do none of that stuff no more. So I know for a fact that I matured and I growed up.
All right, probably when I first went to college, I wasn't really prepared like I should have been, didn't have the discipline probably that I needed and the study habits and all that. So, I went to school, went to that college for over 2 years and basically flunked out. And, realized that, I needed to get some discipline in my life and kind of get going the right way. And so I went to the Army Reserves and went to boot camp. That kind of locked me in. And I'd already met my wife before that, but we weren't serious at all. But during boot camp, we got serious. And then I went to another college and did great. So, that was kind of a time in my life where, I realized I needed to, like I said, turn myself around. It wasn't that I was a bad person. I just needed to get my life going the right direction and quit floundering around. So, yeah.